Welcome to Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services in Eastland, Texas. Tune in every week as we share important information to help you and your family live life on purpose. Insurance, investments, legacy and tax planning, and much more. All covered now on Life Planning 101.
Welcome into Life Planning 101. My name is Angela Robinson with Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services out of the thriving town of Eastland, Texas, and soon to be Three Forks, Montana, ladies and gents. Coming in September 2025, it is a new era for Kennedy Financial Services. We are so excited. And as promised last week, we're going to stay on the topic of transitioning your business. And like we mentioned last week, this is for business owners that are thinking of transitioning their business, selling it, passing it on to the second generation, and those who are not thinking of selling their business, passing it on to the next generation. Because there are two ways that you can leave your business, one of which is what we know vertically, what we hope for, and then there is horizontally. That is something that you're unprepared for. And if you missed last week's episode, you really need to go back and listen to it because it did talk about the biggest mistakes that we've seen made. Today, we're going to focus on Uncle Sam. Yes. How much is he going to benefit from the sale of your business? And I really should say the transition of your business, because even if you're passing it on to the next generation, I can't tell you how many times we've seen that done wrong. And last week, we focused on those mistakes of transitioning business, and you might have been surprised that Uncle Sam was not on that list. Well, think of it this way. If your business is not able to attract a buyer for a great or even a good price, how could Uncle Sam make the list? So again, go back and listen to Life Planning 101 from last week if you have not already, before you dive in here, because it's priorities, right? We're always worried about taxes, and they are a key component and they need to be dealt with, but there's a lot of other stuff that needs to be dealt with there. So for today's episode, we're going to say that we assume your business is ready, attractive, and it is going to endure a successful transition in the future. And with that assumption, that's when we turn our focus to tax planning. So here is what not to do. And I think, how many of these we got? 3, I believe. Yes, 3. 3 things to not do. And these are big things. So hold on to your seats, ladies and gents, because this is going to be a ride. First of all, don't be ignorant. So remember the difference between ignorant and stupid, right? Stupid is just stupid. Well, and it's really like a bad word in my house, but ignorant is not knowing. And what I mean by this is, don't take a wild, you-know-what guess at what taxes will be when you sell your business. It's a huge mistake. Literally, I've seen people do this, and then they add the estimated taxes that they have in their mind to the price of their business. And all it does is just lose the interest of a serious buyer. Yeah. Secondly, taxes could give you serious negotiating power for the sale itself. So you're always thinking about you in this situation of selling your business or transitioning your business and how that's going to be a taxable income impact. But what about the buyer? Okay, so the buyer, if they buy things one way versus another, it could provide larger deductions in earlier years when there might be note payments and other things that cost them more, and that might be a favorable situation. A lot of times that is not a favorable situation to a seller, so it's completely ignored. The thing is it shouldn't be, because with a little tax planning, a little magic, you might be able to accomplish both. And that's a really big mistake that you don't want to, not see if it works for your situation. So having those right planning tools in place might be able to give that buyer more tax favorable avenue and land you a lot more money in your pocket. So that's the second reason for not being ignorant on what those taxes are going to be. And by the way, when I say what are the taxes going to be, this is not like talk to your accountant and just get some rough estimate. No, I'm going to tell you, that doesn't work. We worked with a seller of a business. Let's see, I think it was 2020. It would have been 2022. And we had that going on with the accountant, and they had some astronomical tax, assessment. And so we said, do you mind if we just take this to another accountant? And we did, and it was about half that. And so the planning changed drastically. So make sure your accountant's not providing you that wag opinion either, right? So third, your imagery may just be that fiction. Too many people don't think they can sell their business because of the chunk Uncle Sam is going to take. And I really am very sincere about that. They say, well, by the time Uncle Sam takes his part, there'll be nothing left for us or for our future. And that may not be the case at all. In fact, we've actually endured business sales in which we were able to mitigate the taxes so low and be able to help them, not only create tax savings at the time of the business sale, but also be able to create tax savings throughout their entire retirement, because rather than getting taxed on things twice, in other words, you sell the business, you pay the tax, you invest the money so that you can create an income for yourself during retirement. So you pay tax as those investments make money. This was a situation in which, we're able to not pay the taxes on the sale of the business all at once. We're able to pay them throughout retirement. And in essence, they're not having to pay a second tax. They pay the tax once, in a sense. So it's very, very powerful. So bottom line here, knowledge is powerful. Knowledge is power. At the very least, you need what the taxes are going to look like in various scenarios. Remember this, okay? This is so key. This is really key to so many things in life, that our minds tell us every reason we can't accomplish this or we can't accomplish that. They do that for a reason. I mean, it's really impressive how God made us. We are human beings that are created to solve problems. And once we know a problem, once we identify the problem, once we clearly understand the problem, then and only then can we work on a solution. Our minds do that for us. A lot of people don't realize that when they sell their business and pay the taxes due, that they'll also be paying those taxes on that growth and income generated from those proceeds over time. Imagine eliminating one of those tax bills. It might be possible for some people. So it's really important that you understand what you have in your toolbox. So, not to do number 1, don't be ignorant. Number 2, don't wait until the last hour. Please don't wait till the last hour. Okay, we brought this up last week when we were talking about just continuity and having that burnout effect, or just being so busy that you don't look up, and then you want to sell your business and you're not in a great place to be able to do that. Well, if you wait to the last hour when you're tax planning, most of that tax planning cannot be done. It's not an expedient process to do some pretty big tax planning. It limits you to just a few things. So it's really important that you start early. And you may say, well, I don't understand that. Well, you might not understand that. Well, most people don't understand the IRS code. I forget how many times, I actually put this on a show one time, how many times you could fit the Bible into the IRS tax code. It's crazy. So they have just a few rules, if you haven't noticed. And there's tax planning strategies that some of which need to be in place for years before a transfer takes place to benefit for them. And I want to throw out an instance here, and it kind of highlights what just happened with the Big Beautiful Bill Act 1202. And this has been a law that's been in place for a long time, but it really got attention, and now it's kind of supercharged. It's exciting. But this law allows you to exempt the greater of up to $10 million or 10 times your basis when you sell your business. You heard that correct. Up to $10 million or 10 times your basis when you sell your business, the greater of the two. And even better, there are strategies that can be used to multiply that $10 million or up to 10 times the basis for your family. The thing is, with this particular strategy, there's a qualification period. And to get the max benefit, it's 5 years. To get any benefit, it's 3 years. So this really means you need to start planning in this direction 6 to 7 years in advance. If you want that 5-year benefit, I'd say 6 is pushing it. And the reason why is if you're going to multiply that exemption, there's a lot of other work that needs to be done. Most people don't realize when they sell their business, obviously they need to have worked on their business, have it ready and attractive to sell. They also need to have considered their retirement plan to an nth degree in which they know exactly where those dollars are going to come from. And legacy planning is often an incorporation of that. And I'm going to get into that in just a second because it's number 3 when you talk about your estate planning. But it takes time. It takes time to work through all this. And a lot of what we see is, we tell people, we'll go at your pace. And we've never been outpaced because people inevitably, these are not easy decisions, some of which, it takes some time to process through what you want and how you want it. And we help you through that process. But nonetheless, if you've got any type of real big success issues, it is at least a 2-year process. So it's really important to not wait to the last hour for this situation. And it's not for everybody. This isn't a situation that is often friendly for some lower value business buyers. So it might not be something that fits your situation, but it certainly might. And you don't want to kick the can on it. Which, speaking of kicking the can, let's go on to number 3. Don't ignore your estate plan. All right. What in the world does your estate plan have to do with the sale of your business? Everything. Everything. If you have been successful and your family is facing the risk of estate taxes when you're gone, there is no better time than when you own your business to mitigate that risk. There is no better time in history right now with the current tax laws. Yes, DC said they made that estate tax exemption of, 15 million, thereabouts, permanent. Yet, I'm going to ask you, what is really permanent in Washington, DC? This is where I remind you just to look at our U.S. debt clock. You can actually Google that. A lot of people don't realize that. You can Google, there's a site for it, U.S. debt clock, and just sit there and watch it run for a second. How does that make you feel? Look how much we're in debt per U.S. citizen. It's like 6 figures. It's horrible. And it's not trending down. It's trending up still. So you got to ask yourself, do you really think taxes are going to be lower in the future when they are literally the lowest they have been in the history of our country and the lowest I think we're going to ever see? So I digress. Let's just look at one potential benefit of an estate tax plan while you're getting ready to sell your business versus when you've already sold it and what that looks like. Did you know that you might be able to gift your shares of your business to your trust, your children, and other heirs for pennies on the dollar? I mean pennies on the dollar. And in all fairness here, okay, this is in some cases. So I'm going to fully disclose here that not all situations allow for this to happen. But I want you to imagine your business is worth $30 million. And you only had to use $15 million of your lifetime exemption to transfer all of it to a trust that could benefit for you and your spouse during your retirement and then ultimately grow outside of your estate. What does that mean? Well, if the estate tax rate is 40%, that means it just saved your family $6 million minimally, plus any growth on that money over time. Let's say that you wait till after you sell your business. You might not get any discount. So that means it did cost your family at least $6 million plus the tax on any growth. So think about that. Really think about that. And this is why it goes back to you can't wait. You can't start this process just on the 1 yard line of selling your business. And so many people do. And I wish I could put up big signs everywhere, on the sides of the road. Don't wait till the last hour to sell your business, and here's why, and people could read them and be safe while driving, but I don't think they can. Anywho, you need help. Of course you do. And a lot of times business owners think they don't need help, but this is your first rodeo. I guarantee, For some people, serial entrepreneurs perhaps, they've sold a business or two, and I guarantee they would tell you some of the things that they wish they would have had done different the first time ago. But for most business owners, this is your blood, sweat, tears, it's your everything. This is your last chance, it's your last hurrah, it's your last ability to be able to do it right so that you're set up for life. And unless you have years of experience tax planning around business sales, you simply don't know what you don't know. I'm just to speak candidly. And truth be told, there is a lot of tax preparers, accountants, and CPAs. I mean, most of them, that they can help with the tax analysis and they can help record what happened in the most efficient way, but they don't have the experience of planning to simultaneously mitigate Uncle Sam's hand in the sale itself, mitigate the taxes afterwards, and mitigate the taxes at death. That's not what they do. In fact, it would be hard pressed for any individual to know it all. This is why we're not an island. We say, okay, we partner with your accountant. We partner with tax attorneys. We submerge ourselves in and literally spend close to 6 figures on our education every single year and aligning ourselves with strategic resources so that when the hour comes that we may need this one thing that no other client has needed, we say, I know a guy who can do that. And we can pull them in as the surgeon and get it done. The bottom line is that you need the magic peanut to lure the elephant in the room away from you. And it's not every day that you're going to find someone that can do that. So let us help you quarterback this first rodeo in your life so you can sell and scale, my friend. My name is Angela Robinson with Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group. God bless you. Have a great week and joining us right here next week on Life Planning 101, where we help people live life on purpose.
Thank you for joining us for Life Planning 101, brought to you by Smart Money Group and Kennedy Financial Services. If you have questions, you can email them to lifeplanning@kennedy-financial.com. Don't forget to learn how our sister company can assist you with all of your tax and consulting needs. You can find out more at briscoeandassociates.com. Be sure to tune in next week for more Life Planning 101. The opinions expressed herein are those of the firm and are subject to change without notice. The opinions referenced are as of the date of publication and are subject to change due to changes in the market or economic conditions and may not necessarily come to pass. Any opinions, projections, or forward-looking statements expressed herein are solely those of the author, may differ from the views or opinions expressed by other areas of the firm, and are only for general informational purposes as of the date indicated. Securities offered through Calton & Associates Incorporated, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through Smart Money Group LLC. Kennedy Financial Services and Smart Money Group LLC are separate entities and are not owned or controlled by Calton & Associates Incorporated.